Good Monday evening, and thanks for joining us for Unscripted. It was a pretty nice day outside, so we're going to bring in our chief meteorologist, Joe Charlevoix. Joe, while today was nice, tomorrow might not be quite as sunny and blue skies.
Yeah, not quite as much. We might get a little sun peeking through late morning, early afternoon, but a round of rain coming in as early as tonight. So we're kind of today between systems.
Okay.
And that'll kind of get in here, so more rain. We'll look at that, how much rain is on the way. We'll kind of take a peek at that. And it looks cool too, Cody, this week.
Okay.
I think the coolest weather we've had so far this fall. So a lot to talk about. We'll have a look at that a little later in the show.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you, Joe. I look forward to that. For our top story tonight, as the federal government shutdown enters its 19th day, the funding of the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, is at risk. Several states have sent out warnings that SNAP users will not get any new food benefits in November. Michigan is not one of those states. When our Allie Baxter spoke to people today who would be looped in on that information, she was told any guidance changes daily.
It's really kind of up in the air right now.
Rachel Kugler is the coordinator for the Northwest Food Coalition, a network of 75 different pantries and meal sites across Grand Traverse, Leelanau, Benzie, Antrim, and Kalkaska counties. Right now, what she's hearing from her network of people is there's a big demand that's not going away.
A lot of it has significantly increased, especially since the summer has started and since the new year rolled around. We're expecting to see still more increases as we see inflation and costs of other goods just rise. So folks are choosing to go to pantries and meal sites and put their funds toward other costs.
In June this year, we spoke to food pantry volunteers and others who already noticed a difference, noting they see new faces every week. Some who rely on services like food rescue to supply their pantries were concerned about keeping up with demand. But Rachel says right now she's hearing more optimism.
Most of our sites are usually in a pretty good place, but we have a lot who are solely volunteer, solely donation-based. So we have tried preparing them since the start of the year for these influxes, saying, you know, it's gonna happen.
While they know there will be an increase in demand for services, Rachel says they're not sure what impacts are coming to SNAP. We asked Rachel, has any guidance been given by state leaders?
We know something is happening. We're not exactly sure what it will work out in the end. We do know that there are expected cuts and delays to some of that SNAP funding, and it definitely will impact individuals who are in our area.
As Rachel explains, if SNAP benefits are lost, it affects where people allocate their money, and a lot of times
we have insurance and we have childcare and we have housing and food, and usually when you look across all those kind of expenses, food is usually the first one that gets cut. So when we see those benefits getting eliminated, we're going to see more folks in the community going hungry, and that's not just adults, but that's children, that's seniors, that's veterans, and families as well.
And to talk a little bit more about this report, we're going to bring in Allie Baxter, who worked on this report today in our newsroom. Allie, can we talk a little bit about if there is, and if so, what it is, the difference between food pantries and using SNAP benefits at a store?
Yeah, Cody, that's a good question. That was actually a question I had for Rachel today as well, because just knowing like what the difference is between these two, because at first I thought, is it interchangeable? Do you also use your SNAP benefits at the food pantry? And you don't. It's mostly used at stores. It's preloaded cards so that you are able to use that either at stores, at farmers markets. There's actually a lot of places that you can use different SNAP benefits, but at food pantries, you're going to be a little bit more limited in exactly what that pantry is offering. Whereas if you're able to go to a grocery store, you can kind of go around and see the different things that you may need, be a little bit more specific, with maybe which brand you're buying. But if you're going and just using a food pantry, which many people may be doing if they are not using those SNAP benefits anymore, you're going to be a little bit more limited on what kind of options are available to you. Maybe just whole milk instead of whole milk and skim milk, stuff like that.
Yeah, and I want to emphasize on a question that you said you asked when reporting on this story about guidance and what's happening now and what's happening maybe next. And it feels like there's definitely not a set thing right now. Can you talk a little bit about that and the impact that that's having?
Yeah, so Cody, that's actually where my research started today. I wanted to know specifically, because I do feel like SNAP is kind of different like state to state, and I wanted to know, like here in Michigan, we've already seen some SNAP cuts federally. what was going to be different. And I really couldn't find any guidance just in my own research. I asked Rachel that same question. I said, there's a lot of states out there. We've got Illinois, Minnesota, who their Department of Health and Human Services have already issued warnings saying, we know that something is happening to SNAP. We feel like you're not going to have these SNAP benefits come November. This is our warning to you to be prepared for that. And that's a warning that Michigan has not issued at this point. And when I asked Rachel, are things still, really up in the air? What can people do? She said, we ourselves have not been given a ton of guidance. And we've really just been told by state leaders that really right now they don't know because it's changing day to day, and they don't want to put something out there saying this is definitely going to happen if it's not going to happen.
And did you both talk about just how much of an impact this could have on folks here in northern Michigan?
Yeah, we did. And, you just heard it there, right at the end of that story where she said, this really isn't exclusive just to, maybe older vulnerable adults or veterans, or it's going to affect children, families. It's definitely going to have an impact, especially in our communities, because we do have a lot of people who use SNAP benefits. I remember when I originally did some reporting in June of this year, I believe the number for April was 14,000 people in our region, and I'm assuming probably that's only gone up since then, that 14,000 plus people are likely using SNAP benefits right now across the Northwest Michigan region.
Yeah, and with these impacts, how can people help local food pantries in our area?
I would say, and what Rachel was saying as well, she said, you can always donate to the organizations that are helping these pantries out. We know that not a lot of people have those expendable funds right now, but a big thing that you can do is volunteer. A lot of these pantries rely on volunteers, especially up here. We have a lot of retirees who, especially during the winter time, they like to go enjoy some Florida sunshine, and these pantries are not as staffed as they normally would be, and a lot of them do unfortunately have to shut down in the winter time, which they say is definitely not something that they want to do. So if you are inspired, definitely reach out, volunteer at a local food pantry to you. And if you are concerned about some of the SNAP funding losses, contact your local representatives, both at the state level and at the federal level as well.
And Allie, before we let you go, is there anything else that you weren't able to fit into the report or that we haven't talked about that you would like people to know about this?
I would just say, just an extra emphasis again, that things seem to be changing daily, especially here in Michigan, and that's why we really just don't have any guidance yet. And the people I talked to today said, we really wish we could sit here and say this is definitely going to happen to SNAP and this is what you need to do to prepare for it. But genuinely, things change daily for them, and any guidance that we would even tell you today in an interview would probably change by the next day anyways. But they say we are definitely ready. We are ready to step up. We are ready to support our communities. And regardless if SNAP funding is still here or not, regardless if there is that increased need at the food pantries, we are ready to serve our community, and we are in a good position to do that.
Yeah, sure thing. Our Allie Baxter, thanks for joining us and working on that report. Our question of the day has to do with this question, or with this story as well. Our question of the day today is, do you think the government should continue to support SNAP and other food programs? If you'd like to vote, you can scan our QR code right on your screen right now, or you can go to our Facebook page or our website, UpNorthLive.com, make your voice heard, and we'll take a look at the results of that poll a little later on in the show. Moving on, it's been a topic of concern for years, the ongoing housing crisis in northern Michigan. Today, we're going to talk about how Northwest Michigan Habitat for Humanity is working towards creating solutions. UpNorthLive's Mary Jane Glenn met with this group to shine a light on one of its biggest projects yet.
Right now, Northwest Michigan Habitat for Humanity is in its final phase of the Meadowlands project in Alanson. It includes the building of 38 homes. Sarah Ulrich has been following this project for years and says while Northwest Michigan Habitat for Humanity didn't start it, it did complete it.
Is about a 50-acre development. This was a site that was started by a private builder back in the early 2000s. And he, began developing some homes here. And then in the housing market crash around, 2007, 2008, production stopped and the community was laying dormant for quite some time. Habitat stepped in and we purchased all the remaining lots in 2020.
This neighborhood started out as just an idea for the nonprofit.
I came on board with Habitat about 8 years ago, and this affiliate was building 1 or 2 homes a year. And, you know, we were really thinking about how we wanted to make a bigger impact in the community. And I think in an interview around 2018, I kind of jokingly said our goal was to build 20 houses a year. And so to be here, to have this community wrapping up and to have sold 20 houses in 2025, it's a huge accomplishment. This is the biggest development that our organization has ever done in its history. In just a few years, we'll have built as many homes as in the entire history of the organization, which started in 1990.
The goal of Habitat for Humanity and this neighborhood is to provide affordable housing in rural areas.
All of our buyers are able to purchase their homes without their monthly mortgage payments exceeding 30% of their income. And that is how we can call this affordable housing, is that their payments don't exceed 30% of their income.
We have teachers living here. We have a sheriff's deputy. We have a firefighter. We have tradespeople, you know, people working in retail and all the sectors, you know, healthcare, education, all the sectors of our businesses here in northern Michigan.
When asked how pricing works,
in the Meadowlands, these homes have been appraising in the $260,000 range, but that's not what your payment is going to be as a Habitat home buyer. We're able to work with special financing programs, down payment assistance, and we pull all these great resources together to help bring that cost down. So on average, I would say our families have a mortgage of around $190,000 to $200,000.
I also wanted to know, how does a Habitat for Humanity house compare to other housing in Emmett County?
For our area, for our market, our average house cost here in Emmett County is $850,000. And so, you know, we're building brand new, high quality, energy efficient homes. And so it's a fantastic value for our families.
Families say they are already seeing their quality of lives improving.
And one household in particular, they purchased their home a couple of years ago now, but they bought mid-October, just like this time of year. And she had children, and she was just so excited that her children could go trick-or-treating in their neighborhood for the first time in their lives, because they've only ever lived in apartments. Homeownership is more than just the financial piece and the stability. It just symbolizes what a family can grow into and the memories that they're going to make.
In Emmett County, Mary Jane Glenn, UpNorthLive News.
Northwest Michigan Habitat for Humanity also has projects in Boyne City, Odin, and Pellston. They plan to have more than 40 houses built by the end of this year. And switching gears a little bit now, after 24 hours of searching through dense forest in northern Michigan, a missing Kent County canine has been found safe. Canine Soka vanished during an off-duty trip with his handler this weekend. The multi-agency search stretched across counties, and it was a tip from the community that brought him home. UpNorthLive's Tony Lundy tells us how this was all made possible.
Canine Soka, a narcotics detection dog with the Kent County Sheriff's Office, went missing while off-duty. More than 24 officers, drones, ATVs, and even mounted units worked together in the thick woods of the Manistee National Forest.
Yeah, so we use some tracking software at the Sheriff's Office, and we've gridded off the canvas area, and then we're assigning personnel to those canvas areas until they're exhausted and moving from one zone to another, starting where we believe he was last sighted and then where the tracks are located.
Then, after nearly 24 hours of searching, Soka was reunited with his handler.
We had a citizen call in that they saw a dog which might be Soka, and when we went over there, sure enough, it was Soka, and we're so thankful that somebody called in and that Soka was found. His condition is good. He got himself into a porcupine, it looks like. We're going to have him checked out by a vet. However, overall, his condition appears to be good.
Deputies say Soka will recover back home with his handler after more than 24 hours on his own. They credit the community and social media for helping bring him back safely.
We had a lot of resources out here. We had drone teams. We had our mounted unit out here. MSP assisted with a helicopter out here, but in the end, it was the community, a citizen, that called in and had located the dog. So without the support of the community, we could have been out here hours longer, days longer, but the community is extremely supportive, and it was with their assistance that the canine was located.
The Kent County Sheriff's Office says it was a true team effort, and tonight, Canine Soka is going home safe and expected to make a full recovery. In Lake County, Tony Lundy, UpNorthLive News.
That story brings us to our first break. We'll check in on your weather forecasts on the other side. Keep it here.
I'm Jada Johnson from Big Boys TV, and the Fish and Game Report is sponsored by Johnson's Propane.
Welcome back to Unscripted. We're going to bring in our chief meteorologist, Joe Charlevoix. Joe, after a rainy weekend, it was nice today, but I think in one of our early shows, our friend Charlie Tinker, I think he described it as being in the cream filling part of an Oreo.
Right.
Where
like
today's nice, the last couple of days were rainy, and or the next couple looking more on the rainy side.
Yeah, so today was probably the nicest day of the week, honestly. It was nice to have some blue sky after kind of a wet weekend. But yes, to your point, we're going to get some rain coming in later tonight, and then it's going to kind of hang around through most of the week at times. Kind of showery weather. There's a look at Petoskey. By the way, it's sun's already set, 53. It's still daylight, of course, but the sun is below the horizon now, 53 degrees there. Just a couple hours ago, this is beautiful blue sky, but you can see some clouds now ahead of our next system on the way in. So our three big things: a fall feel in the air this week. It'll be kind of cool, off and on showers. We're not expecting snow. Well, at least not this week. Eventually, temperatures normal temperatures this week, for sort of a comparison, will be in the 40s and 50s. Normal highs this week, low and mid 50s, and then our normal lows, upper 30s to around 40 degrees for comparison. Here are the two systems we're wedged between, one in New England and another one in Minnesota tonight. And then there's northern Michigan right in the middle. That one to the west of us is starting to roll in, and with that, some rain. In fact, here's a look at radar. You can see that area of rain now getting into western Wisconsin, Areas around Green Bay, for instance, or not Green Bay, but up toward Duluth, Minnesota, rather, some of that rain. This is still pretty far west from northern Michigan. I mean, if I draw this out from, let's say, Gaylord, it's still 275 miles away. But with time, this will get into northern Michigan, and you can see that here. There's 11, 12 o'clock. There's around 3 a.m. Cadillac, Traverse City rain, and then this will lift north tomorrow morning. And then perhaps a little sun right in through here in the afternoon, and then more showers kick in. And then this low will drop. You can see the spin right there. This will drop right across the area Tuesday night into Wednesday. And behind that, then we're going to get some lake effect rain at times Thursday, maybe even into Friday. So rain totals as we run this out through at least early Wednesday. We're talking about a ½ inch, maybe a little more for some spots there. And there's even the potential for a crack or two of thunder tomorrow afternoon. No severe weather, but for the lighter shaded areas there south of an Alpena Traverse City line. All right, the extended forecast, there it is. Looks very fall-like. Again, cloudy Wednesday, showers likely through the day. Thursday, scattered lake effect rain. Friday, a few showers, and then we get back into the 50s. Not that it's going to be warm, but a little bit warmer as we head into next weekend, Cody.
All right, fall-like indeed. Thank you, Joe. We're going to take another quick break, but when we get back, the Lions are playing in prime time tonight. Our sports director, Harrison Beebe, will break it down. Stay with us. Welcome back to Unscripted. It's a busy Monday for football in Michigan as the Lions are hosting the Buccaneers tonight in primetime, and it's Prep Plays of the Weekday. You can vote. Harrison Beebe breaks it down.
Hey, Cody. Yeah, tonight is the night. Monday Night Football, the second Monday night game of the season for the Lions, and they're going up against the NFC best Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Bucs at 5-1 on the season and currently run the pecking order for the conference. But the Lions can easily take a lot of that momentum back tonight with a win at home. It's going to be kicking off right after our broadcast here on ABC on Unscripted, right at 7 o'clock from Ford Field. So a little earlier Monday Night Football kick time, but should be plenty of time for everybody to watch. And more importantly, we'll have plenty of time to gather highlights for sports at 11. But also, speaking of highlights, we know Hometown Highlights was Friday, and we take the best of the best from Hometown Highlights and put them in the Prep Play of the Week hopper and have you at home decide on the winner, which will be on our Facebook fan page this week. But for now, here's a look at this week's candidates so you can decide who will come out number one. Taking a look at the top candidates for this week's Prep Plays of the Week, we start with Brady Wilson of East Jordan grabbing a great pass off the grass and rumbling his way to the end zone anyways against Frankfurt. A great heads-up play for the Red Devil receiver as East Jordan picks up a big win on Friday night over the Panthers. How about Daniel Hunter of Gray Lane? Check out this catch against Glen Lake last Friday night with defenders on him. Still pulls the grab down in the end zone for a touchdown. Lakers win the game, but the Vikings get a Prep Play of the Week nominee. Then we go to Jack Deach. Reed City running right past the Hopkins defense as the Coyotes pick up a home win on Friday night, 21-7. Big help from Deach on the ground with a few touchdowns in that one. How about some defense to wrap things up? Elk Rapids, Trey Dennis jumping up with a few different players, and it's Trey pulling down the interception against Benzie Central. Elk Rapids gets the eventual home win over Benzie. Head to our Facebook page, Up North Live, and cast your vote in the post for this story. We'll reveal the winner of the Prep Play of the Week tonight during sports at 11. And that'll do it for me in Unscripted Sports. I'm Harrison Beebe. Back to you.
Lots of great plays to choose from there, which there always are. It's going to be a tough one to choose which one you want to vote for. Speaking of voting, you can also vote in our question of the day. That's up on our website, UpNorthLive.com, and our Facebook page. We're going to look at the results from that question after the break. Stay.
Salon services are furnished by Epiphany Advanced Academy in East Acme.
Welcome back to Unscripted, taking a look at our question of the day. It's as the federal government shutdown enters its 19th day. The funding of the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, is at risk. Several states have sent out warnings that SNAP users will not get any new food benefits in November. Michigan's not one of those states. Our Allie Baxter did a report on this. You'll be able to catch it on our website, UpNorthLive.com. For the question, we asked, do you think the government should continue to support SNAP and other food programs? 71% of people said yes, 29% of people answered no. And taking a look at some of your comments, Carol said, only for the people that really need it, not scammers. Diane said, yes, it benefits our family, friends, and children. Thanks for voting if you did. Thanks for commenting. And thanks for joining us on Unscripted. Have a great night.